Hey there, everybody. How are you? Welcome to this week's Peaceful Eating Weekly Live. Facebook is giving me a little bit of problem, so all of a sudden I'm like super close and not centered at all, so I don't know what is happening with Facebook today. I just did the whole live, and here I am redoing it, so I don't know what is happening. Hopefully this will work. If not, I'll have to figure something else out. But anyway, today we are talking about how your extra weight is actually the doorway to a happier life. And if you are new to the Stress Free Eating community, welcome. And my name is Claire Ketchum, and I am a mom and a consistency health coach. And I am on a mission to teach women how to create a personalized and pleasurable eating plan so they can actually stick to it and finally lose weight for good. So if you know of anybody else who is on this mission and would benefit from being a part of this group, I would love for you to invite them to join us. And if you're here live, which nobody probably is because I was supposed to go live at 12 and now it's 12:20. I did go live at 12, but it didn't record, so I don't know what happened. But go ahead. So for most of you, you will be watching the replay. So go ahead and just write hashtag replay so that I know that you came and that you were able to access the content. So again, today we are going to be talking about how your extra weight is actually the doorway to a happier life. So you might feel really frustrated with your extra weight, and you might feel you might feel stressed emotionally, you might feel uncomfortable physically, and that is totally valid, right? It is totally fine to feel that way, and it is totally normal to feel that way. But the extra weight is just a physical manifestation of unprocessed emotions. So when we sort of stuff our emotions down and we don't process them, your body has to give you some sort of a signal that it's feeling uncomfortable and it cannot hold all these emotions in its body. So sometimes that manifests as extra weight. So it can manifest in other ways, but sometimes it is the extra weight. So it's just sort of like that red flag, like, hey, hello, like you need to process these emotions. And if not, we might just keep on pushing you to gain more and more weight so that you feel more and more comfortable, so that you address these emotional things that are happening to you, and we can release these. And when you start to address the emotional stressors in your life, that's when your life becomes so much happier. So you might think of this weight as a burden, but in actuality, it can really be a blessing because it gets you to wake up and pay attention to the things that are going in your life that you are not processing. And when you don't process them, then they just become harmful to you. So when you start to release them, then you begin to feel lighter and happier. So how do we do that? So my favorite way to process emotions without eating is the emotional freedom technique. And so, for example, like let's say you've had a really stressful day and the kids have been fighting all day, and scenario one, you go to the kitchen and you grab some chips and you start eating chips to relieve that stress. So it does make you feel better temporarily, like in the moment you will feel better. But eventually, you feel like maybe you feel guilty for eating the chips, or then again, you gain more weight and that makes you stressed out even more. So you just keep on escalating that stress and become more and more stressed. But let's say you do the emotional freedom technique, which actually helps you decrease your stress in the moment. Then you are going back into a relaxed state. And when you spend your life in a relaxed state, your life is so much more pleasurable. It just automatically is. If you could imagine going through your day feeling stressed and tense is so much less pleasurable than going through your day relaxed and peaceful and knowing everything's going to work out for you and everything's going to be okay, and that your weight will eventually settle it out because you are taking the right steps to reduce the stress and to stop that reaction to eat to reduce your stress and stuff your feelings down. Okay, so that's how it works to make your life happier, and that's why sometimes you can look at, even if you feel emotionally and physically drained by this extra weight, look at it as a gift, because it's opening the door for you to explore what emotions are keeping you stuck. And once you learn how to process those emotions and release them, then that's when life becomes pleasurable. That's when you can turn eating back into a pleasurable experience, right? Because you don't have that emotional reaction driving you to the food over and over and over again. Okay, so the emotional freedom technique, what is it? So it's really very simple. It's just tapping on meridian points, similar to acupuncture. So when you put those little needles in your body, it automatically sends a relaxation signal to your body. So when you tap on those points, it also automatically sends a relaxation signal to your body. So the first thing you do is you need to identify your stressors. Okay, so let's say you're going about your day and everything's fine, you had a nice lunch, and all of a sudden you're just craving something, right? That's a really big signal that you have a stressor going on, because it has nothing to do with being hungry, right? But you are craving something because your body's like, hey, I'm really stressed out, and eating is the fastest and quickest way I know to reduce stress. Let's eat something, right? So instead, you're like, what's bothering me? What do I really need to let go of? What do I really need to work on in order to get myself back into a relaxed state? So let's go back to the example of having a really stressful day with your kids. So you might be just very overwhelmed and annoyed by your children. And that's a totally normal feeling, right? So instead of scenario one, going to the kitchen to eat the chips, you're going to, again, do the emotional freedom technique. So the first step in the emotional freedom technique is to rate your stress. So on a scale from 0 being no stress to 10 being very stressed out, how stressed is this situation? What's stress? Sorry. How much stress are you under on a scale from 0 to 10? So you are going to rate the intensity of that stress. And once you have rated that intensity of the stress, then you are going to create a setup statement. So like, even though I'm feeling so stressed out about my kids' behavior, I fully and completely love and accept myself anyway. All right. So then you're going to go and you're going to tap on the side of your hand, which we call the karate chop. And you can use these 2 fingers. You can use all fingers. It doesn't really matter. And you're going to repeat that 3 times. So even though I'm so stressed out by my kids' behavior, I fully and completely love and accept myself anyway. Even though I'm so stressed out by my kids' behavior, I fully and completely love and accept myself anyway. Even though I'm so stressed out by my kids' behavior, I fully and completely love and accept myself anyway. Then you're going to tap through the 8 points, just basically bitching about, complaining, whining, however you want to say it. Get all the emotions out, the frustration, the anger, the sadness, the loneliness, the boredom, whatever emotion is coming up for you, you're just going to tell it like you're telling your friend or your sister or your spouse. You're just going to sort of bitch and complain about what happened. Just like you might do when your spouse walks through the door, like, the kids are driving me nuts, right? So let's start with that. So you would start at the eyebrow. The kids are driving me nuts. Side of the eye. Why can they not behave? If they do one more thing that I tell them not to do, I am going to murder them, right? After those thoughts have crossed through, right? You're just being honest. Like, you feel so annoyed. I feel so annoyed with them. Chin, what is wrong with my kids? Why can't they behave? Collarbone, my kids fighting all the time drives me up the wall. Under the arm, I really can't take it anymore. Top of the head, I just don't know what to do anymore. Okay, so and then you go back to the eyebrow. They're just absolutely driving me nuts. I feel like such a bad mother. I feel like such a loser. What the hell is wrong with me? Why can't I get my kids to behave? It's so frustrating. I'm so tired of listening to my kids fight. They are driving me absolutely crazy, right? Okay, so and you would just literally go around and around and around, just saying all the emotions, all the feels, everything, just get it out. And your body will stay in a relaxed state because you are tapping on those meridian points. So when you get to the end, when you feel like you've just like exhausted every emotion that your children's behavior is causing in you, then you would take a deep breath and you exhale. then you go ahead and you would rate your anger, frustration, whatever you want to call it, whatever you are calling it again. And hopefully it has decreased. And generally, you want to be able to get it down to at least a 5 to get yourself back towards that relaxed state. If you can't get it down to a 5, then you just need to do a little bit more tapping, or maybe there's something else going on that's triggering you and you think it's your kids, but it's actually something else. So there are little nuances to tapping that as you get better at it, you get better at it and you figure it out. So once you get that stressor down to a 5 or below, then you want to go ahead and you want to replace it with something positive. So a really great one to say is, it's safe to relax and let this go. So you would tap for the points and just say that. So eyebrow, it's safe to relax and let this go. Side of the eye, it's safe to relax and let this go. Under the eye, it's safe to relax and let this go. Nose, it's safe to relax and let this go. Chin, it's safe to relax and let this go. Collarbone, it's safe to relax and let this go. Under the arm, it's safe to relax and let this go. Top of the head, it's safe to relax and let this go. Take a deep breath, and you're going to exhale. So I'm not even annoying with my kids, and I still feel really relaxed right now. I love tapping. Okay. So that is just a really basic, easy introduction to tapping. If you are new to tapping, you can go to my website, claireketchum.com, and I have a tab for EFT, so you can see like a diagram with all the points, and they're all written out. So if you don't need to remember the points, you can go ahead and use that as a resource if you wanted to, or you just come back and listen to it again. But sometimes it is easier to see the visual of the points until you get familiar. I mean, there's only 8 of them, so it doesn't take that long to get them into the brain. But when you use this instead of food to reduce your stress, do you see how you're actually expressing your emotions? You're actually processing them. You're actually releasing them from your body. And you can start to feel like your shoulder, like wherever you hold that tension. So maybe you hold the tension when you're stressed in your shoulders, or maybe you get a headache, or maybe your stomach feels upset. That will start to ease because your stress is actually decreasing. Whereas if you go and eat food, your stress, it might decrease for a little bit, but it's not a long-term solution, right? Processing your emotions on a regular basis is a long-term solution to avoid emotional eating. Okay, so if you feel like this has been really helpful, please go ahead and tell other people about it and have them come and watch it. And if you would like some support figuring out what is blocking you, what emotions are blocking you from being successful, because sometimes we've been doing it for so long, it's like really hard to figure out what our stuff is. Like the kids fighting is pretty obvious, but sometimes we have some deeper ones that, maybe take a little bit of time, or maybe we're avoiding them because we don't really know how to process them. So if you would like some support uncovering what is blocking you from sticking to your healthy eating goals consistently, I really encourage you to hop on a call with me. And during this call, we're just going to talk about what's working, what's not working, and just what to do to move forward to just get you out of this rut, right? Get you out of this rut and get you on track with reaching your goals and being consistent. So if you feel like that would be helpful, just go ahead and pop in hashtag I'm ready or hashtag ready, and I'll just reach out and connect with you on how to get a set up for a time to chat. Okay, so I hope this is helpful. I know it's a little weird. Believe me, I know it's weird, but it works. I promise you it works. There's other ways to do it. You don't have to tap, but in general, you need to process these emotions and get them out of your body in order for you to let go of that emotional eating, let go of that stress cycle, and then that's when your weight will start to balance out. That's when sticking to your healthy eating goals becomes easier. And when sticking to your healthy eating goals becomes easier, then your weight just balances out, right? You don't have to struggle and fight anymore, right? You're just processing those emotions. Okay, so I hope it helps. And if you need any questions or clarifications about what I am talking about, please reach out and ask. Okay, bye guys. Have an awesome